Welcome to the course of Design of Machine Elements 1. In today's section, we will try to understand what is this overhauling and self-locking, which relates to power screws. And here I use a screw jack in order to understand this concept very clearly. That's the only intention where I use the screw jack over here. But importantly, this overhauling and self-locking comes with the power screws. Now as you can see this, whenever I say in a screw jack, we need some torque in order to raise the screw jack or even in order to lower the screw jack. This is one concept. Like we need a torque either to raise the screw jack or even to lower the screw jack. In both the ways we need a torque. So let's come up with a sort. Yes, in a power screws, torque required to lower the load and is given by this equation. Mt is equal to W dm divided by 2 into tan phi minus alpha. These two parameters are quite important here. One is phi, another one is alpha. Now let's see what is this, when I say a phi, the phi relates to always a coefficient of friction, and when it comes to alpha, as alpha is an helix angle. Let's try to understand like how is this, and mainly keep in your mind that in order to lower the screw jack, the torque required is this. Now coming to first concept, what would be overhauling? Just I had a screw jack, and over which I do have a car, and when I apply torque, my car moves up. So this is what happens. Now, in order to say this an overhauling concept, so I will consider again the same torque equation, and here I know that alpha is equal to helix angle and phi is an coefficient of friction. In this case, if alpha is more and phi is less, I do repeat, the value of alpha is more and the value of phi is less, that sends out the helix angle is more than the coefficient of friction, then we call it as a negative torque. Negative torque in sense overhauling. We don't, if there's a negative torque that will be going across, then the whole screw come by itself down. So we call this as an overhauling concept. Now what is this? So overhauling, when phi is less than alpha, the torque required to lower the load is negative, therefore whole load comes by its own. We call that concept as an overhauling, and it indicates no force is required to lower the load. We need some torque always to, as I said earlier, we need some torque either to rise or to lower the load. But in this case, there is no torque being required in order to lower the load. It comes by its own. We call it as an overhauling again. And the condition is called overhauling. This condition is also called as a back driving of screw. So another concept is self-locking. As usual, I'm going to give a torque to a screw jack and my whole vehicle moves up. So again I will consider this equation. Here I will make it into different concept. Like if alpha is less and phi is more, that sense out the helix angle is less and the coefficient of friction is more. Then we call it as alpha is less and the coefficient of friction is more, then we call it as a positive torque. That sends out we need some torque to lower the whole load. Then it comes down. So if here the whole vehicle or whole load doesn't come by own, it self-locks itself. So you call this concept as a self-locking. So this is how it happens. So here the phi, that since the coefficient of friction is more or equal to alpha, then we call it as a positive torque and is required some load to lower the part. And next is under this condition, the load will not turn the screw, it descend upon its own unless you put an effort P on the applied on the handle. So the screw will be self-locking if the coefficient of friction is equal or greater than that of a helix angle. So this is self-locking and overhauling. And I said that here in this case, in screw jack, the overhauling would not be a recommendable element. We know that. But as per concept, other sort of one where I'd say a self-drilling, hand-drilling machine, there overhauling is very much recommended. That doesn't say that overhauling is a disadvantage. It is a disadvantage for certain cases, not for everything. So this is what the concept lies behind the overhauling and self-locking. Thank you.